Hey, welcome everybody to the smooth, jazzy sounds of South Florida. Here we are if you're watching on TrentoVision.tv. We're just grooving away right now in the early evenings as the sun is going down in Miami. It's a cool evening. What is this thing? What is this? I'm in Miami or wherever. That's not bad. Seattle was good. Hi, everybody. Tom Trento here on Friday, May 3, part 4 of our 4-part series. It's Islam Stupid. I don't know where I am, but the guys, if you're watching on TrentoVision.tv, the guys put up a background because should we destroy the magic and let them see what it really looks like?
No.
The green painted wall in our super studio here. But right now, no, if you're with me, you're grooving. We need some jazzy.
What are you doing?
We need, but it's, look, hey, we make jihad fun. And when you deal with this kind of stuff, you got to laugh a little bit. And speaking of laughing, if you were with us 2 days ago, back on Wednesday, May 1st, that was the 2-year anniversary to the killing of Osama bin Laden by SEAL Team 6. Quick little overview. There's about 3,000 SEALs in operation in the United States. This is not classified information. There's about 300, and they're broken up into various teams. SEAL Team 1, SEAL Team 2, and all of that. There are about 300 members of SEAL Team 6, the top tier elite of the elite of the elite. Within SEAL Team 6, there's other divisions. We don't have to get into all the detail there. But and then there's even some other divisions after that. But all of them working together with many other people. Osama bin Laden was a 10-year hunt, and the analyst at Langley, I think in the movie, her name is Jen. You got to go see the movie. It's actually Zero Dark 30. Very, very good movie if you have not seen that. And I had thought originally with Zero Dark 30 that it was going to be a puff piece for Obama. But he's mentioned, I think, 2 times, and one is negative and the other isn't very flattering. It really is an homage, an honoring piece to the true patriots that are working every day, either as analysts or as door kickers and people at the point of the spear. But they're keeping you and me and others safe in the United States. But sadly, we don't have SEAL Team 6 operating in Boston. But we do have a great police corps in the United States of America, and our JTTF, Joint Terrorism Task Force, operating. And they did a magnificent post job of sifting through thousands of hours of video. And ironically, next week we'll get back to giving you an update on Israel every day. Ironically, some of the technology used in identifying the Tsarnaev brothers, Dzhokhar and Tamerlan, was Israeli technology that allows the camera that's looking for a facial recognition image to speed through crowds and crowds and crowds of people and to find something that looks like it at an accelerated rate so you can do your investigation very quickly. And the Israelis developed that technology, ironically, from all their bombings and their intifadas. And ironically, the Israelis had an headquarters in Boston for that technology. So 2 days ago, 2-year anniversary of the killing of Osama bin Laden, the Emir. And through the magic of TrentoVision, you can go to youtube.com/TheUnitedWest. Through the magic of television and TrentoVision, we brought you a live interview with Emir Osama bin Laden. He had a little hard time with his microphone because it got a little wet under the water, but it's life. And I don't know, folks. He had to leave us and return to the pit of hell. But I think he's coming back by popular demand. There's been actual demand to have him back. And we're going to ask him some tough questions, and we'll let you send in some of those tough questions for the Emir Osama bin Laden in the future. On TrentoVision today, on the 3rd of May, Friday, at 8 minutes past 5 o'clock on the East Coast. We thank you for joining WNN 1470 on your dial. If you're at home or driving in your automobile, you're hitting 1470. Don't go to 610 and 780 and 940. Those are crazy numbers. The nice numbers are 1470. You can even go there 6 o'clock in the morning, 1470 in South Florida. You'll hear Brian Craig, who's getting a little testy these days. And some of the stuff he says, I go, how could you say that on the radio? But he gets away with it. And Steve Kane, who is the Dean of Talk Show Radio. Those two guys do a great job, 6 o'clock in the morning. And we want you watching and going to and joining Tea Party Community. Please, teapartycommunity.com. All the stuff you can't freely do on Facebook. As conservatives, you can do in spades on Tea Party Community. Go there. Great bunch of people. Great chat rooms. Great organizational rooms. Activist-oriented. We want everybody on Tea Party Community watching right now to send a couple of emails out. Just put the link to our show. TrentoVision.tv. Right now. Do it right now. Go to your computer. But I can't watch you if you're doing that. No, you can open one window, open another, go to your email, send it to your list. Watch this show right now. It's good stuff because it is good stuff. We do a lot of work here. We got a great team putting together the material to bring you the key issues in defending the United States Constitution. That's what we do at the United West. We defend the United States Constitution. We also work to stand with Israel. We recognize Israel on the in the Western world. In the Middle East is really the only Western country there. And in the GWOT, anybody know what that means? GWOT. What? The what?
What are you talking about, man?
What you talking about? The Global War on Terror. GWOT.
The global war on Islam.
No. Well, yeah, I guess. No. We are fighting Islam in America ideologically. We do not want to get Connecticut. We are fighting Islam ideologically. We have been doing that since the United States started, and Thomas Jefferson said, how the hell what am I gonna do with them crazy pirates over in Tripoli, from the shores of Tripoli in Libya? What am I gonna do with them? I think I'll invite them for Eid. What a bunch of nonsense.
Oh, you mean so that Quran was actually for informative purposes, not because he was so interested in practicing the religion? It's more of like for doctrinary investigation?
It was his opposition research. Thomas Jefferson grabbed the Quran to do a little opposition research because the pirates from Libya, from the shore, the halls of Montezuma to the what?
Shores of Tripoli.
Libya. We will fight our country's battles. He established the Marines in the late 1700s to go fight Muslim pirates. He was reading, Thomas Jefferson, president number 3, he was reading the Quran to understand the worldview, the mentality of the enemy. And who is the guy? Sunrise, the great Chinese war philosopher, Sunrise or Sunset or something. What's his name?
Sun Tzu.
Oh, Sun Tzu. Okay. Sun Tzu. I saw you, son. He Sun Tzu'd him. So Sun Tzu.
We're still fighting Muslim pirates, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes,
we're starting to
we
zap them a little bit, though. Hey, put on your bucket list. You know what that means, your bucket list?
Yeah.
What?
Before you kick the bucket, things you need to do.
Go to Fort Pierce, Florida. A couple hours from where the bunker is right now. It's on the ocean in Fort Pierce. Go to the UDT, Underwater Demolition and Seal Museum in Fort Pierce. It is there in Fort Pierce because in World War II, I got a new camera here. In World War II, in preparation to advance on Normandy and go through the iron, well, there was iron, concrete, all kinds of obstacles and obstructions to get to the shore. the Navy trained right at Fort Pierce, blowing those things up. And after World War II, they said, what a great place to put the historic museum for the UDT, Underwater Demolition Team members, and eventually the SEALs. That museum is in Fort Pierce, Florida, and they just built a new wing. And if you go in the new wing, as we did, Mark, remember back then?
That's correct.
You'll see the Maersk, Alabama lifeboat, and you can look at the holes shot through some of the windows that killed the 3 Somali pirates by 3 SEAL snipers on the back of a...
That is still one of the most amazing feats of marksmanship I've ever heard of.
They're 3 snipers, and I've read the account several times, the real account. 3 snipers on the back of a moving boat in the ocean with a rope. Now, what they did do
on top of a moving boat, shooting,
shooting on a, and you look at this Maersk, Alabama, the lifeboat, and it's just like a cork. And how do you get a clear shot at that thing? But what they did do, they being the Navy and the SEALs, the Alabama, the lifeboat ran out of gas, so they were towing them inland because they said, "You bring us inland, otherwise we kill the captain here." So they're towing him inland, and they threw the rope out about 300 feet, and they slowly reeled it in, and they didn't realize it.
Just over time,
yeah.
So it's like inched them up.
The shot was 75 feet, which is still quite a bit. Still quite a bit. But those guys are on KHOT, K-H-O-T. They're on so much drugs.
To give you an idea what the shot was like, it's about like hitting a fly on top of a bouncing ball while jumping on a bouncing ball.
All at once. 3 guys all at once, so that
with
you don't
3 guys.
Unbelievable.
That's almost impossible to believe.
It's almost impossible to believe, but it actually happened. And thank you, President Obama, for having the strength. He was like shaking. I think he soiled himself on that one. What am I supposed to do? I don't want to be killing people. But there was so much pressure on him. And there's a bunch of stories that, the captain of the ship said, "Hey, you get a shot, you take it." But in any event, at 12 minutes after 5 o'clock in the afternoon on the 3rd of Friday, we're completing our 4-part series today. And we want you to know, now let me see, can we do that? No, I guess we can't really do that other thing we were talking about, can we? Because we don't know anything about it. We can't do anything about that, but we'll tell you something about that on Monday, that's for sure. Can't tell you anything about it right now. But here's our very highly our
graphics department has come up with another outstanding graphics display.
Yes, photographic quality again.
Right. Yes. Now you think that stuff behind my head right up here is fancy? Take a look at this. Okay. The subject for today is, and you can see it on the banner ahead on top of me. It's Islam Stupid Part 4, and all we're trying to say is Islam, and the 2 symbols there are the overview of Islam. Those are the symbols used by Islam. And there's 3 depositories of written information.
If we can zoom in on that camera guy.
Yeah, the Quran in the center, you see that. The Sunnah and the Hadith. The Sunnah and the Hadith are, for stating this very simply, biographies of the Prophet Mohammed. The Quran is what the Prophet Mohammed got from the angel Gabriel, from Allah to Gabriel to Muhammad, written down for Muslims to look at. That's Islam. If you want to know what the religion, what the system, what the philosophy of Islam is, you look in those 3 depositories of written material. We're showing you in our 4-part series ending today how to get from Islam to the bomb in Boston. There's a direct causal relationship, cause and effect. This thing happens, there's the consequence of it. Bomb blows up, we trace it back to
Islam.
This sounds very Islamophobic today again.
Now, digging in a little bit over the past 4 days, we said, well, what are the particulars in this particular jihad attack? We're not talking about 9/11. We're not talking about 7/7 in Britain. We're not talking about the rails in Spain. We're not talking about Times Square. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about Fort Hood, in losing our sons. We're talking about the Islamic Society of Boston. We're saying that Islam, as articulated and taught by the Islamic Society of Boston, in particular this mosque, the Roxbury Mosque, and the Cambridge Mosque, are the facilitators of the system of Islam that led to the bomb, and that these two guys right here,
Proof.
those are the elected leaders of your great state of Massachusetts and the city of Boston, ladies and
They
gentlemen.
gave them the mosque and
Yep,
the
that's
land
right.
to do it.
That's right.
Okay.
Jesus.
And if you come to Net 2 for a second,
That's Governor Duval and Mayor Menino.
now they gave it to a guy who pled.
This is so stupid. Why do we even do this stuff?
I mean, come on. How hard can this be? I mean, guys, all right. One of the organizers of this whole thing, Abdul Rahman Alamoudi, pled guilty to. All right, Tom. We didn't say he's a terrorist. We don't claim he's a terrorist. He pled guilty to being a terrorist, and is one of the main organizers of this mosque.
He was the founder of the Islamic Society of Boston, and in an effort to see, here's Imam Abdullah. Let me ask you something. How do you guys do it? How do you take Governor Duval Patrick, and he's the governor of the state of Massachusetts. That's a substantial state. And you take Mayor Thomas Menino.
He's such a tool.
Of Boston. He's been there for like 1,000,000 years. He's been elected 4 times, I think, right? 16 years.
We love him very dearly.
But these are not intellectually dumb people. I mean, they've been through college. They're lawyers, whatever they are. They've advanced.
Very smart, very successful. You do not get to be in that position while being dummy.
But what do you guys do to trick people to believing that you're really something you're not? How does that work?
Well, it starts at the very top, overseas, and it starts with money, first and foremost. It starts with the money, and then it continues to the
you mean
oil monies, Saudi oil money for the most part.
I'm traveling around the world today, folks. Look at the different backgrounds. I've been all over.
Oh, my goodness.
See if you can get me to Dubai. Let's go to Dubai.
Beautiful city.
Yes, it is. Normally in the United States of America, right now we have about 2,200 mosques. 9/11 we had about 1,100. We've increased about 100% in 13 years.
That is
right?
amazing, considering all the abuse we as Muslims have taken from you brutal Americans.
And 90% of the mosques that have been built with Saudi Arabian money, and they teach a doctrine of Islam, or a viewpoint of Islam called Wahhabism, which is true Islam. That the way the Prophet lived, the way the Prophet spoke, the way the Prophet taught, the way the Prophet acted, the way the Prophet fought, is how you're supposed to live Islam.
We're like Puritans.
Well, that's what it is. It's a puritanical view. It's a real view. It's going back to the essence of Islam, because for a while, as they were becoming, Turkey after World War II was westernized by Ataturk, and even Egypt in the 50s. You can look at pictures of Muslims in Egypt, and they
look like New York.
It looks like New York. It does, And Beirut was the Paris of Lebanon. It was a Western city.
Many Christians, Druze.
Yep, they're all gone. And there was a movement in the not starting with, but accelerated in 1979 by the Shia revolution in Iran by Ayatollah Khomeini.
I hate those Shias. Hate the Shias.
Over against the Shah of Iran. And Muslims saw, hey, we could truly follow Allah the way we're supposed to. And this Wahhabist movement accelerated in the 60s, 70s, 80s in the West, in the United States. So the Saudis have funded about 1,000 mosques in the United States since 9/11 over the past 12 years. And they put that money, if you can look on the screen left, if you're watching on TrentoVision.tv at 20 minutes after 5 o'clock on the 3rd of May as you're driving in your cars, If it's raining where you are today, folks, right now, be very careful. Past few days has been very, very rainy. But if you see on the screen on the left, it says ISNA, and it's got a picture of the graphic is of a mosque in the logo. Islamic Society of North America, ISNA. They are the holding company for a majority of the Sunni mosques they're the organizing entity of the Muslim Brotherhood organizations, one of which is the North American Islamic Trust, NATE.
ISNA's the head of the snake.
Yeah, and NATE, North American Islamic Trust, is a holding company for all the Sunni mosques in the United States of America, the majority. The way it works, they actually hold the deed to the property. Why do they do that? Anybody
So you
know?
behave like we want you to.
You behave, and if you go off book, if you go, we don't want to wear our beards untrimmed. We don't want to, have to go into the bathroom with one foot and another. We don't want to keep banging our heads. Okay, you're out.
Goodbye.
Boom. Goodbye. You're out. And they bring in Wahhabist Saudi viewpoint. Who knows Islam better than the Saudi Arabians? Where are the two holy cities?
Saudi Arabia, Mecca and Medina.
Well, who knows Islam better? I mean, everybody points
Well,
to...
you have Al-Zahar University.
Why do you guys always point to Saudi Arabia? You guys here in America...
When we pray, we are facing Mecca.
No, I'm not talking about praying. When you point to Saudi Arabia as, they've perverted Islam and they're extremists, and that's not Islam. How could you possibly say that about Saudi Arabia?
I do not say this.
Oh, okay.
Between the Salafists in Egypt and the Wahhabis in Saudi Arabia, that is the most puritanical form of Islam in the world today.
Is that what you practice?
I'm a Taliban sympathizer. I'm Pakistani Taliban sympathizer, which is very close.
Very close. All right, well, in any event, here on the fourth day of our four-part series, It's Islam Stupid, we're gonna jump into a little video that I did, a couple of them, to kind of highlight this. So if we can set up the first one. Are you set up on the first one?
Yes.
All right, I'll give you a little context for it, then we'll go into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to show a little. If you go to Net 2 real quick, and just explain what Tom was talking about. All these groups on the left. These are the covert underground groups trying to implement Islam, trying to get you to convert to Islam.
What do we have there? We have CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations. That's the civil rights group for Muslims. Phony baloney.
Backlash alert.
We have
ISNA. ISNA's the head of the snake.
Okay, what
IGNA
else?
is the Islamic Circle of North America.
Okay.
Muslim Impact, the Muslim Public Affairs Council.
MPAC, Muslim Public Affairs Council. Really slime bags for sure.
MSA, Muslim Students Association. The very first, interestingly, that's where they very first went to, was the youth, the Muslim Students Association.
1963.
The Muslim American Society. Another, caught them collecting funds for Hamas in Orlando, Florida. We did.
We did, yes.
And the North American Islamic Trust, which is the holding company, they trust, just like you would think a trust would be, the holding company for 80% of the mosques throughout the United States. Yep. All of those groups off to the left are
equal.
They're the same thing as Hamas.
Yep.
And same thing as the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yep.
It's all the same identical thing, just methods and tactics. Like
Thank you, Hassan Albana.
When Mark says the same thing, what we're doing here, why we've go back to our branding logo, It's Islam Stupid. We're saying that there's a continuity between all of these various Islamic groups in the United States, and that continuity is the doctrine of Islam. They being the leadership, have a mission statement, they have articles, they have manuals that have to be followed, and when you lay them all out, they are basically saying we are doctrinaire Islamic Muslims. We have an obligation to live for Allah every day. We have to pray. We have to do all these different things, and we have a world mission. Our mission is to dominate, control the world. We didn't, and if you talk to them, they go, "We didn't pick this. Allah has mandated it for us. How could you deny what Allah has given you? That's their argument. If Allah has called us to do this, we have to do this. Now, if it's true, this is a whole nother issue. If it's true that Allah has called them, then really they have to do that. But if it's not true that Allah has called them, that their call came from somewhere other than that which is true, then the consequences of what they do are going to be destructive and diabolical and evil. Proof is in the pudding, folks. Show me anywhere where Islam has become supreme, dominated, and where the life for people from a Western point of view. If you go into Afghanistan and talk to a lady in a blue tent with a screen in 100-degree heat and say, how you doing? She'll say, oh, Allah, oh, inshallah, everything's great. This is my life.
Right. And
somebody looks at her and goes, what the heck is with her? Well, she's conformed to the mandates of Islam, and she believes that's what it is. How do you break that woman out of that? Very, very difficult. Very, very difficult.
And here's the other.
But we don't want it here. Right. That's why we have this series.
And here's the other important fact of this thing, is that we're not just saying this. We're not just, we just picked these groups out of the air and, okay. Other than the fact that we've actually tracked them on the ground and caught them red-handed doing it.
And they just bombed the city a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, and we
have, other than that,
there was the largest counterterrorism trial in the United States, the Holy Land Foundation trial.
2007, 2008.
Where they show beyond a reasonable doubt and also reviewed by a court judge, upheld by a review and appeal, upheld and upheld and upheld, and they testified to the fact that the documents that they had were true. These groups said, yeah, these documents are all true. We are part of the Muslim Brotherhood Association. They still come out after the trial and say, no, not us. We didn't. Well, I mean, it's almost comical.
Yeah, also,
it's comical.
You have these groups that have also tried to get the title of, quote, unindicted co-conspirator removed from them. And the courts just recently upheld the fact that they are absolutely unindicted co-conspirators. They will not remove those titles. So, it's not just something, that was placed inadvertently. There's a reason for it.
Well, yeah.
And they say, well, we haven't been convicted. And I go, yeah, well, you haven't been convicted. Just like, how many times have you been listed as an unindicted co-conspirator in a federal prosecution case, Tom?
Yeah, well, so far in my life, I've avoided.
You're just an official hate group.
I've avoided that. And I, when you speak to some of these folks who are unindicted co-conspirators, or they are members of an organization that is listed as an unindicted co-conspirator, they bring that up. They said, well, if the government had anything on us, they would indict us. So it's just a bunch of nonsense.
Well,
that's nonsense.
Well, other than the fact that in the Holy Land Foundation trial record, the judge says they are a part of Hamas. They are a part of a terrorism group. I mean, how much more clearer can you be?
You see what just happened in Boston with the magistrate? This was 48 hours after the arrest of Dzhokhar Sarnev. The magistrate came in and read him his rights.
No, they had 48 hours. They came in like 36 hours early.
Yeah. But the magistrate came in, and once the magistrate read, actually occurred before that. Once the order was given to the DOJ by the White House that this was going to be a criminal as opposed to an exception to the criminal clause to do the investigation, that put the deal in motion that there would be very quickly due process kicked in for an American defendant who now is protected by the Constitution. So our government has this classification of unindicted co-conspirators to not, one of the reasons, to not kick in due process. Because once you indict somebody, then the clock ticks and you've got to arraign them and you've got to bring evidence, you've got to take them to trial and all of that. It's the way it should be. Because, we do need due process. The government can get crazy. Well, if you leave somebody unindicted, you can put eyes on them and you can do other stuff and you can track their cars and put little devices inside their ears. You can do all kinds of different things and not have to worry about violating the law. So All of you unindicted co-conspirators, I hope you sleep very well tonight. But look at this. You're just talking about this, Mark.
May the
Here's our
fleas of
book.
1,000 camels sleep in your bed.
Hey, Abdullah, Imam Abdullah, have I autographed one of these books for you?
Yes, you
Have
evil
I?
man.
I
Yes,
will
yes.
give you one. Okay.
Thank you, but no thank you.
The Muslim Brotherhood's phased plan. You were talking about in the Holy Land Foundation trial, documents were presented as evidence and stipulated too. The defense stipulated that, yes, the material, and they had no choice but to stipulate. The wind is blowing. They had no choice but to stipulate to the fact that these documents were true and valid documents compiled by the Muslim Brotherhood in their archives. And one of the documents, the explanatory memorandum, has a 5-part plan in taking over the West. Pretty simple, 5-part plan. So when you hear this stuff from us, we're not conspiratorial lunatics. We're explaining what this book is all about, the threat doctrine of Islam, Sharia, the threat doctrine. All right, let's go to Boston now, because we're tying. I'm looking at my computer, and here, I got to show you something. Let me see. Hang on. How do I get this?
Well, off to the video, Tom.
But here we go. I mean, I'm laughing to myself looking at this thing, and I wanted to show it to you. I can't find it. I'll find it later. What it is I have up our archive section. If you want to go to the archives of our work, go to youtube.com, The United West, and you can see all our stuff. I'm looking at the frame of Osama bin Laden looking at me like this, and I can't stop laughing at it.
Okay.
But we're going to go to Boston right now. We're going to take a look at a video that I did. Let's just play the beginning. Then we're going to jump around a little bit. I'll tell you when to jump around. I want to lay out the warning to America. You can go full screen for this, and I'll read it because it's got some freaky kind of Middle Eastern music. And here we go. This was shot on June 25, 26, 2009, virtually 4 years ago, as we investigated the Islamic Society of Boston, in particular the Roxbury Mosque. Warning to America. Muslims using Saudi money opened an ideological base in Roxbury. Many counterterrorism analysts believe this outpost is designed to recruit an army of African Americans as a fifth column. It's like a teleprompter. It's in a black neighborhood, as I said. To do the Muslim Brotherhood's work in America, kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying Western civilization from within. So we said back in June of 2009 that why in the world would Saudi Arabia build a $16 million, 50,000 square foot mosque in the hood in Roxbury? Well, you found out, folks, on the 15th of April 2013. Now, I do this report, and if you want to see it, you really should take a look at it. Go to, where's it going to be?
YouTube.com, United West.
It's going to be, that's our archive. Let's jump ahead, scan ahead to when I get to the, about 5 minutes in. It's, if you can, scan like that. If you can show me that somewhere, or get to where I start talking. I say, okay, I'm here. I come out of the taxi cab and I start talking, and that'll give a little introduction to what we're doing.
Yeah, I got it. Go ahead, keep talking.
Keep talking. This video is 4 years old. It's been kind of on the shelf. We put it out 4 years ago. Got some very good play. It's getting great play now because it was somewhat prophetic, and we do not claim any supernatural powers or any insight. We're just students of jihad. And yeah, if you can scan through that a little quickly, a little further than that, and what I'm looking at on my screen. Yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, and we're almost there. A little more. All right, start right there. Here we go.
In front of the Roxbury Mosque, it is Friday morning, the 26th of June, and the troops are lining up to make a statement. as to prayer, not extremism. Well, we'll see how the day goes.
Oh my God! I don't know who that guy is.
I'm going to turn the volume down on this.
Yeah.
This is pretty bad.
The music was.
They definitely need some practice on this thing.
I think it was like. Anybody know anybody that owns an instrument?
Is that the Junkyard Band?
Here's Charles Jacobs. You got to listen to Charles Jacobs. He's the key guy in Boston right now.
Anybody reading that Boston Globe story heard that the official Jewish community is not coming here today.
It was a windy day.
Not coming here today, and they're going to have to say why they're not coming here today. Anybody who heard that, read that Boston Globe story knows that this is a Saudi-funded mosque.
Okay, let's hold it there. Speed forward. Charles Jacobs just established that it's a Saudi-funded mosque. Americans for Peace and Tolerance. The video we saw for the past couple of days he put together. Go to Frank Gaffney. Let's hear a little bit from Frank Gaffney. Then we're taking you to Imam Abdullah Farouk. After we go to Frank Gaffney, Charles spoke and he laid out the problems with the Roxbury Mosque. Now, the way this stuff works, folks. The mosque is part of the Islamic Society of Boston, Islamic Society and Cultural Center of Boston. They have two mosques, one in Cambridge at the college and one in the Hood. We went to the Hood to protest the opening, knowing it had direct ties to terrorism. Here's Frank Gaffney speaking 4 years ago.
And why what we're doing here is so important. I believe that what we're doing is not only standing against the people who brought us this mosque, the radicals, the Wahhabis, the Sharia adherents, but we're standing with Muslims in America who wish to be able to live their lives here, to practice their faith in a peaceable, tolerant way, to be part of America, not to be forcing everybody else.
Okay, you can freeze that. That was very important. What do you guys see that Frank just said that flies in the face of haters and all that nonsense?
Well, what's happening is this mosque that they just built. I mean, we know it's a bad guy mosque. We know it's a terrible mosque, and we know it's not good for Muslims. We know. I mean, one of the reasons I got involved in this whole thing, and one of the reasons Frank got involved, and was that actually take these people who are being misled by a doctrine that is just pure evil, and turning them into, hateful people. And I still believe to my heart of hearts that the way to solve this problem is by the freeing of Islamic women from this type of tyranny, because that's where the root of the problem is. And that's what Frank Gaffney's doing in a similar fashion.
To me, it was basically saying, you people escaped the crappy Sharia-filled countries that you came from. Here's your chance at a fresh start. Don't ruin it and go back to the same crappy methodology.
Yeah, don't go in his building.
Don't bring your garbage with you.
Yep, that's exactly.
And that's a very good point. I mean, you guys left there for a reason. Why are you trying to bring that reason over here?
And here's and for the listening audience, at 38 minutes after 5 o'clock on the 3rd of May, TGIF, do not drink and drive. Be careful, everybody going home. The critical point right now, as we're wrapping up our 4-part series, It's Islam Stupid, is that Frank Gaffney just said 4 years ago, standing in front of a mosque that's in the news today, you Muslims that have escaped, as Damon just said, from these dirtbag Muslim countries, why'd you come here? Because everything's so wonderful there? You came here for the opportunities and freedoms and liberty and individualism and beauty and art and music and science and school and fun and laughter and music and theater. You came here for all of that. Why the hell are you going back into the rat's nest that was built by whom? Who put the money into this thing?
The guys who you ran from.
Yeah, the Saudis put the money in it. You don't think they're going to put leadership in there that's going to bring you right back to the dirtbag countries you came out of?
The second answer is, and I'm sorry, Mark, I'll be real quick. The second answer is they didn't come here for the better life. They came here for civilizational jihad.
Well, Frank wasn't talking about those.
Well, it's got to be one of the two.
Well, Frank was saying, look, you moderate Muslims, if you want to be moderate, you can't go in that building, but the folks that go in that building ain't interested in moderation. They're interested in domination.
To put an analogy to this, you're an abused woman who's been in an abusive relationship with a husband, and you left and you fled him, and now the government builds a house for your husband right next door to you.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good way of looking at it, for sure.
Because it's just an abusive relationship for women. It is. It truly is.
Oh, well, again, we're going to do a series on how Islam abuses women to the point where many of them become apologists defending their own abuse.
Right.
And that is the Stockholm syndrome almost. All right. Let's go a little further. We're going to go see Imam Abdullah Farooq. Now, yesterday, if you were with us on Thursday the 2nd, we saw the 7-minute video that Americans for Peace and Tolerance put together, and it tracked Imam Abdullah Farooq, who is the leader of the Islamic Society of Boston, tracked him through presentations he made, support he gave to convicted terrorists, and statements he made. Well, now Imam Abdullah Farooq is
no relation.
Yeah, all his homies. Governor Duval blew him off the other day. Doesn't want anything to do with him now. Northeastern University, where he was the imam of record, he got fired from there about a year ago. He is becoming persona non grata. But we're going to show you a little tete-a-tete with him 4 years ago. You got him?
Yep.
All right, watch this.
The Islamic Society of Boston Cultural Center. We are the Muslim populace and the Muslim leadership.
What about Badawi?
No, he's not here.
Jamal Badawi.
Jamal Badawi, who's he?
Who is he? He's a trustee on the board.
Okay, so what?
All right, hold it. We got to draw attention to that. All right. Now, sometimes in doing this work, actually quite a bit in doing the work we do, the investigative confrontational work against the Muslim Brotherhood over on our other side, the United West, you come across these little jewels that are just so wonderful. That's because when you are faking at life, you get caught, particularly if you're speaking to people that know what you're doing. We're going to replay this little section. And there's a lot of noise because we're out on the street, but you guys are used to that at 42 minutes after 5 o'clock on the 3rd of May. I walk up with a camera. I'm shooting this. Charles Jacobs, the head of Americans for Peace and Tolerance, asks Imam Farooq, what about Jamal Badawi? And we've talked about him. Mark, who is he real quickly?
Go to net 2. Jamal Badawi. He's we ran into him at the University of Central Florida. And he's down there doing his peace and tolerance and outreach programs at UCF. He's the guy who wrote that little book next to you there, Tom. His group, his council did. Right. That little Sharia law book there.
Yeah.
And what's that on his head, Mark?
And that's a little Zabida head. He's a headbanger, I call him. And what I mean by a headbanger, he bangs his head into the ground so much to show his religious, fervor. And he's just and he gets a bruise on the top of his head, and he's very proud of it.
And this guy.
Now, let me keep on going.
Yeah, you got to make it quick because we got a lot to get through.
Okay, here. And if you look here on the little, back it out on the list. Go zoom in on that. You'll see he is.
Put it full screen.
He is actually he is right on top of the top of the list of the Muslim Brotherhood chart there, as far as bad guys. He goes straight to the buzz. He's the head of the Feet Council of North America, and just bad guy overall.
Now, if you're being confronted about your position, as we are confronting Imam Abdullah Farooq, come back to me, Farooq, on the streets of Boston in front of the Roxbury Mosque, June 2009, and we say, oh, you know Al Capone? I don't know Al Capone. What do I know about Al Capone? Oh, Al Capone sits on your board. Oh, that Al Capone. Oh, yeah, well, he's a good guy. He's okay. Watch what happens.
Oh, by the way, that chart was not drawn by us. That was drawn by federal prosecutors in the Holy Land Foundation trial, who said no, this guy's Muslim Brotherhood. That's the reason he's listed as co-conspirator number 20 individually in the Holy Land Foundation trial. Yeah,
he's really a bad guy. So Charles asks him, and we're giving you insight into the stylistic approach and the influence operational skills of unique Muslim brothers. Why are we doing this? We're exposing these folks. Why? Because at the center of all this, or at the end of all of this, are pressure cooker bombs. That's why. This is all interrelated. It isn't some sudden jihad syndrome where I have this. I got to find this. I got to find this right now.
He wasn't self-radicalized. There's no self-radicalization machine.
Actually, this whole Roxbury Mosque can be considered a self-radicalization factory.
A self-radicalization factory. Okay, I can't find it now. We got too much stuff to do. But I got a picture of a guy whose head is spontaneously combusting, and it illustrates, I think, very well the sudden jihad syndrome that the left and the mainstream media want you to believe. You got to look at us, people that spend their lives analyzing this stuff, and we're on the communication end. We're analysts that take the work of the serious CIA, military, law enforcement analysts. We compile it and compose it into manageable chunks for you to digest. So we're communicating this to you. You got to take a look at that versus the mainstream media, which says, oh, these two kids, well, they just suddenly combusted into jihad.
Crazy how that happens.
There's no connection. There's no philosophy. There's nothing. Who knows? I mean, he got punched in his head in boxing.
Well,
it is like catching a flu bug.
We have a picture of that on net, too.
Which one? Did you grab that? Let me see.
Yeah. So.
I sent it to you, right? Yeah, there it is. There it is. Sudden jihad syndrome. Your head just suddenly explodes into flames, and
for no reason.
For no reason at all. All right, so now watch as I go in with the camera, and Charles says, "What about Jamal Badawi?" He calls him Badawi or something, and he feigns, which means fakes. He being Imam Abdullah Farouk, the tall black guy on the screen. He fakes not knowing him. Charles goes, wait a minute, he's on your board. Oh, that guy? And now he tries to just blow right past the fact that he just lied. Lied on public television, cameras all over the place. He lied. This is Islam. Okay, play it.
We are the Muslim populace and the Muslim leadership.
What about Badawi?
No, he's not here.
Jamal Badawi.
Jamal Badawi, who's he?
He's a trustee on the board.
Okay, so what?
Well, he's a Muslim Brotherhood.
Okay, so what? We love him dearly.
So why does he say then in his talks that? Let me explain.
Okay.
So why this is why we're upset. Why does Jamal Badawi?
In the state of Connecticut, we say in peace, Salam alaikum.
Good, shalom. Why does Jamal Badawi say that it's incumbent upon all Muslims to establish Muslim rule all around the earth? We would want Muslims to come here and be equal with Jews and Christians. But we find that many of the things that are taught by people who are connected to you.
It's from the Pluralism Project at Harvard that has studied you and this movement back and forth for the last 5 years.
Let me finish my thought.
No, let it go. This now there's a confrontation with an imam. Watch this. It's noisy. You guys can bear with it. There's a lot of people running up and dropping up flowers and all this.
First name, and none of what Jamal Badawi has said affects or shapes the way we think.
I'd speed through until we get to.
Doesn't make a difference.
There's a sheikh that comes in who's a moderate sheikh. Keep going a little more.
That's got to be in part 2, Tom.
Okay, go to part 2.
All right.
And I conclude that by saying, is Imam Abdullah Farouk ever going to tell the truth? And then we bring a sheikh who's involved in this moderate movement in Islam. And as we have said, being true and honest to the integrity of our work, if you are consistent with the doctrines of Islam, it leads you to jihad. If you are fighting against the doctrines of Islam, as many people are trying to do, to be moderate, you're not viewed as a legitimate Muslim by those who understand Islam. Go ahead, speed through. Let me see if we can come to start it there. See what the audio sounds like there.
Listen, the only opinion that we're truly concerned with. The only opinion that we're truly concerned with is what Allah has said and what the Prophet Muhammad has said. And what men say, we disregard.
Where's Ahmed?
Men say everything.
You care nothing about what men say.
I don't predicate my beliefs.
Do you believe Israel has a right to exist?
Yes, it does. I don't predicate. Listen, as a Jewish state. Listen, as a Jewish state. Why not?
That's good. That's good.
Why not?
That's good. Do you believe that wives should be given?
Come on. Listen.
Do you believe Hamas is a terrorist organization?
Do you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
I agree with you.
And you're entitled.
He wouldn't answer that.
I don't listen.
Do you believe?
Listen. I don't know. Listen. I don't know.
Do you believe Hamas
listen.
is a terrorist organization?
Please listen to me.
Answer that question.
I don't know their opinion.
Inshallah.
I do know
your opinion, sir.
Listen, my opinion is this. My opinion is this here.
Ahmed, come here.
Would you let a sheikh speak with you?
He's a sheikh.
Listen.
Okay, freeze that for a second.
I'm the sheikh.
So now the Sheikh gets involved with him. And you can see all these videos, folks, on youtube.com/TheUnitedWest. The Sheikh gets involved with him. They have a nice little battle. But speed forward to where I'm speaking to a jihadi of jihadis. And watch how he addresses me. There's such a supremacist attitude in these folks that have zabitas on their head. Watch what happens, and you'll see the little intellectual battle that occurs. This is in front of the Roxbury Mosque on the opening day.
It's in Boston.
Yeah, in Boston, the day Michael Jackson died. We were there. That's when he died. We were at dinner, and somebody said Michael Jackson died. About 10 people, and they go, so? No, not that guy. Keep going. That guy was a nitwit. He was, I'm from Saudi Arabia. I wrote, I'm from Newark, you know. So, I mean, you know, they were fawning over him because he was from Saudi Arabia. He was a Meccan. I'm a Meccan from Saudi Arabia.
And that really goes, and that's actually a very good point, Tom, is that
keep going.
There's a hierarchy of order inside the Saudi culture. It's a pecking order.
Oh, this is interesting. Here's your woman thing, Mark.
Okay.
Watch what happens when I talk to this lady, and then I want to show you the kid. I think he's in the third one.
Here's another one. But no, the main contributors, I personally have been involved with this mosque for the past decade, and there isn't any truth. I'm somebody that believes in...
Oh, you're busted.
No, but in equal rights, everybody has equal rights, and all we want is for us to have a healthy community out here. If I had the shred of doubts that these fundings were coming from conspicuous source, I would never have been involved with this particular mosque. I believe in it heart and soul, and I stand behind it heart and soul. And I know that it's
as a young girl supporting the mosque.
Here because the Muslim people, like
I wonder what she
everyone
thinks
else,
today.
we live in
What would it take to convince you differently that something you're following is?
This is me asking, what's it going to take to...
You can't come and take a stab at my belief system because I am...
I ask you what...
It won't take anything because I take offense to what you're saying. Well, I take offense at somebody that comes to me and tell me that what you
Speed forward. I asked her, ma'am, what would it take for you to change your mind? We can present the evidence that this mosque is Saudi funded, that it's connected to terrorism. What would it take for you to change your mind? And she goes, you're attacking my religion. They become very defensive and victims. There's a victimization concept in Islam. Try to keep speeding. Let me see, because this is a very interesting little exchange.
I have to be insane.
Yeah, go to 3. Hurry up. Yeah. And I lost my. I had that picture of you, of me and Osama bin Laden face to face. My computer died, but it looked pretty interesting. All right, here we are. Just a few minutes left, folks, on our Friday show, the 3rd of May, 2013. We want you all to have a wonderful weekend. Come back, join the show Monday, 5 o'clock. Get to that next video if you can. And I want to show this one little confrontation to show you how to deal with Muslim jihadis on the street when they try to dominate the situation. What are you doing?
I think we got it here.
All right, let me see. Yep. Go back a little bit. Oh, it goes right into it. Okay, good. Start it right there. Watch this.
You're saying you're going and talking, saying these people, this, and this people. Did you take my permission to tape me?
Don't have to. You're on public property.
Okay.
That's America. What country are you from?
Mind your business.
Well, in America, if you're on public property, we're allowed to take your picture.
Oh, really?
So if you don't like that, then you have to get off the public property or go somewhere else. In America.
In America.
So, yeah.
Hey, Tom, I'm really trying to get on a dialogue here.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right, freeze that.
You see, that is the idea. When you have
that was a very important. I want to play that again. That was a very important little confrontation, And this guy and I go on to speak for probably an hour, and I put up about 10 or 15 minutes of video. And we went all over the place, and he is very slick. He's one of the sharpest guys I've ever dealt with. I actually liked him at the end because he was able to deal with what was going on, be pretty good at what and reveal some information. But just play back. If you're ever dealing with these folks on the street and they try this bullying tactic, particularly on public property, and you're videotaping them, watch how I handled it. Handle it.
I hope that you'll understand my story. That I have.
Oh, you got to go back.
You did?
It looks like he wants to just punch you right in the face.
Well, he did. I mean, he wanted to. You got to go back a little more.
In America. I'm really people to do this and this. Did you take my permission to tape me?
Don't have to. You're on public property.
Okay.
That's America. What country are you from?
Mind your business.
Well, in America, if you're on public property, we're allowed to take your picture.
Oh, really?
So if you don't like that, then you have to get off the public property or go somewhere else.
Right.
In America.
In America.
So, yeah.
Looks like he wants to blow you up, Tom.
Well, what happened, I mean, that really is a good teaching moment to deal with these guys, because I did it with some humor, but I laid out the law for them, and you can't back down. Do not back down from Muslim jihadis. They particularly the men, and particularly if they have untrimmed beards and they got a zabita, a bump on their head, they're going to be domineering and dominating and bullying. It is a facade. They're punks when they're all alone. When they're in a pack, then they want to kill you, and they will kill you, and they do kill you. Not him. He was a pretty nice guy, actually, but alone. But we're standing for the principles of the United States of America. We're standing for the Constitution. We're on public property. The law says if you're on public property, there is no expectation of privacy. Moreover, we were there with a permit protesting the Roxbury Mosque, which was across the street. These guys came from the mosque over to our side to confrontationally engage us. So he had no right whatsoever to not have me videotape him. And I continued to tape, and it drove him crazy. Go to youtube.com/TheUnitedWest. You can watch this whole 4-part series. It's called Roxbury, Mosque or Mask. And back then, 2009 in June, we concluded with the 4th part. There are 4 10-minute videos. The 4th part was entitled The Demise of Boston. And we said 4 years ago, if this mosque continues in the direction it's going, this is going to be the demise of Boston. There's going to be problems. And folks, it took a little less than 4 years for the first phase of the attack in Boston to occur. There's going to be more unless, oh my God, he's back. It's the Emir. Hey, Emir.
Yes.
What are you doing back?
I'm getting ready for the weekend.
Can you come back on Monday?
Can I come back? I can come back here?
We'll see you on Monday. Bye, everybody. Have a great
Fantastic.
weekend.